A player that deserves a lot of credit for how they're playing is Chris Paul. And I want to ask this question. LeBron is in his 18th season. We all praise him for it because he's 36 years old and still performing at a MVP level. But how come that energy isn't how come we don't give that energy for Chris Paul? Chris Paul is doing damn near the same thing. He's 34. He's going to turn 35. He's 35 years old right now. He's going to turn 36 in the month of May. And he's still playing at an all-star level. Chris Paul is still playing at an all-star level. He's averaging 17, 5, and 8. 49% from the field, 39% from the three, damn near almost 40%. And he's shooting 97% from the free throw line. And when I first saw that number, I really couldn't believe it my damn self. And these are all better numbers than what he put up last year in OKC when he was named to the All-Star team. And the other night, he passed Oscar Robertson, and Chris Paul is now 6th all-time in the assist leaderboard. The Phoenix Suns are 19-10. They're 4th in the Western Conference. And if they make the playoffs this season, which I think we're all expecting them to make, this would be the first time they would make the playoffs since 2010. And the other night against the Pelicans, Chris Paul had 19 assists. He truly is a point god. And when people look at this Phoenix Suns team, they see Devin Booker and Chris Paul, and everybody automatically thinks that Devin Booker is the better player because he's a flashier player. He put up more scoring numbers. He puts up more points per game. But I think the best player on this team is Chris Paul. And advanced analytics prove it. Booker versus CP3. Booker's win shares are 1.6. Chris Paul's win shares are 3.7. When you talk about value over replacement, Booker has a 0.2. Chris Paul is at a 1.5. And their box plus minus, Chris Paul has a box plus minus of 4.5, and Devin Booker has one of -1. The advanced analytics prove that Chris Paul has been more important this season than Devin Booker. And if Chris Paul never gets traded to the Suns, I don't think any of us think they can be where they are in the standings right now when we'd even be questioning if they were going to make the playoffs. Chris Paul has made the Suns not only a playoff team, but a scary playoff team that can upset quite a couple teams in the Western Conference. And this is not a knock on Devin Booker. I love Devin Booker as a player, and I love his game. But this is just being honest about the situation and analyzing it and saying, man, Chris Paul he probably should be an all-star this season. I mentioned earlier, he's 35 right now. He's turning 36 in May, and he's still playing at an all-star level. He's playing like one of the better point guards in the NBA, and you don't really hear anybody talking about it. Nobody is talking about, oh, Chris Paul, he deserves so much respect and credit. We see it every day with LeBron. We see it with LeBron so much that people think he should win MVP just because of his age. That's how much we see it with LeBron. We don't see it with Chris Paul at all, though. I mean, I know Chris Paul doesn't belong in the MVP conversation, but you don't even see him being talked about as an all-star. Nobody's talked about it at all. Last year in OKC, nobody thought they'd make the playoffs. Chris Paul takes them to the playoffs. This year, the Suns have exceeded so much expectations, in my opinion. Like, we knew they would be in the playoffs, but we didn't know they'd be a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. Who really expected that? And I think Chris Paul has been one of the main guys and the main reasons why this Phoenix Suns team has been so good. And if I were voting for who should be on the All-Star Reserves team, Chris Paul is definitely one of them. And I hope he does get in because he deserves it a lot. He deserves it a lot.